Welcome to my platform. This is another series in the prophetic. This one is titled How to Prophesy Like a Major Seer. We've got seers in class, and you want to be a major one if you've got a prophetic call upon your life. God personally wants to have you give out His word to His people, a message to His people the best way possible. The people too God is pushing into your life or around your ministry are expecting to have the best out of your ministry or their moment of experience with you. So I'm going to be guiding you through practical processes that position you to be able to prophesy like a major seer, so as to bring you to a place where you personally becomes one of the major seers. There are secrets that major seers lean on in order to prophesy accurately as they do. Amos chapter 3 and verse 7 says, "Surely the Lord God will do nothing except He reveals the secret to His servants, the prophets," indicating that the earth realm He's given to the prophets to pilot the affairs of His people. That's humanity. So each time God wants to communicate with people, He tend to make use of prophets to get the message across to the people. Now, prophets who are able to see and not only hear or feel or perceive alone are the ones we refer to as seers. And when we're talking about some of the secrets they lean on in order to be able to access accurate prophecy, forensic prophecy, prophecy at pinpoint level, and relay the same with accuracy and then with power to see that people are liberated from their ministration, there is going to be a reason or concern that brings your attention to be able to connect between what you are able to figure out or tap from the spirit realm with other prophetic senses in relation to how active your ability to see, that's the prophetic sense of sight, is activated, or what stage you have been brought to by the Spirit of the Lord, and as a result of the exercises that you've been exposed to in the course of your prophetic journey, so that you're able to amalgamate, bring these together and get the most for God's people in the process. So I'm going to be highlighting 5 important strategies or keys or secrets that you need to know in order to be able to prophesy accurately, forensically, and keep growing by the day. So number 1, objects speak. In other words, you can tap prophecies from objects as a prophet. That's everything in nature, everything that you can come by. God can decide to have you access a prophetic message from such things. So it's not the issue of the objects being able to speak, like let me say their clothes, the hair, the shoes, even their cell phone, and whatever around somebody you're meant to prophesy to can speak to you or relevant information about the person to be prophesied to. But this is not where I'm leaning on alone here. I want to bring you to a place where you understand or have you cast your mind to or consent to the relationship between object speaking to you as a prophet and then you being able to see as a result of the object that is speaking. Let's pick the man prophet Balaam, for instance. He was hired to curse the people of Israel. He had his donkey with him, and in the process of time, the angel of the Lord stood by in front of him because God wasn't happy with his move at the time. And the donkey saw the angel of the Lord, but not Balaam. So Balaam struck the donkey. What happened? The donkey spoke to him audibly. This one was an example of a case in which the donkey spoke to the prophet through an audible voice. There are other occasions in which the donkey will still speak, but it will not be through an audible voice. You should be able to pick the message communicated by the donkey using a different prophetic sense. Let's say a prophetic sense that is able to have you perceive or feel or taste what the donkey have to say. In the case of Balaam, it was an audible voice. There is still something important here. There are occasions where this donkey will speak, but the voice will not be audible. So that the prophet, in quote, have to pick that voice as an inner version of hearing in the spirit rather than seeing as an inner vision. So there is a version of hearing as an inner vision, inner voice, yes, that can be picked here. This uh, tells us of occasions where people were only thinking in their mind and Jesus would perceive what they were saying. So the donkey can be thinking and Balaam could perceive it. That's a point I want to establish here. So sharp prophets pay attention to everything around their clients so as to be able to pick the slightest message indicated in the environment or the objects that are around their clients. And if you can be activated to be positioned to be able to glean on such informations passed across to you this way, you'll be good. When you hear a voice, for most of the time, the voice comes before the seeing follows. Let's pick Revelation, for instance, chapter 1, verse 10. I was in the Spirit on the Lord's day. Apostle John said, then I heard a voice behind me. It sounded like a trumpet and all of that. He said, then I turned to see the voice. Can you see? So the hearing came first. When it turned, he said, I saw 7 lampstands. And I saw one like the Son of Man standing in the middle of the 7 lampstands. Can you see that? So the hearing came first. That's what prophecy is all about. Let me stop there for that point and move to point number 2. People's perfume, cream, and all of that can speak to you. Like in the first point, I just concluded the prophetic codes like proximity, prophetic code of nature can give you prophecy from object speaking, and even the prophetic code of a prophetic seed. In this case of my point number 2, where I talked about perfume, the cream, and some other fragrance around them giving you prophecy. In other words, you are able to perceive the fragrance of the perfume or the cream, but when this happens, instead of you just perceiving them like any other person, the message that is conveyed by or signaled by the fragrance of the perfume or the cream, you are able to pick it. That's what is important here. Prophets are able to pick these, or seers are able to pick these and able to follow these up to see because they are conscious of what they are perceiving. Let me say this. For a dog to track, let's say, beef that you're roasting somewhere, frying somewhere, and eat it up, it will first of all pick the aroma of the beef that you're preparing. Then it will follow the aroma of the beef, the direction of the aroma. So prophets are like dogs here. They are able to pick or perceive or in the realm of the spirit, okay, or fragrance in the realm of the spirit, and follow with their spirit man, not their physical body in this case. So the spirit of the prophet will begin to travel with or following that aroma or fragrance, if it is for cream. And perhaps this cream was produced to be used to seduce people and from a particular kingdom. Now, where you bought it, the shop is not a problem, or grocery store or mall or wherever, it's not a problem. The prophet is going to be able to follow the fragrance of the cream to the kingdom where it was originally manufactured or decided for manufacturing in order to achieve a particular goal, like placing people in particular bondage. It can be sickness, it can be stagnation, it can be a particular kind of mishap, and all of that. It can be about lost when you perceive such fragrance of cream or perfume. The seer is able to track and get to the root of the source of the fragrance and deliver such people using these cream and the likes. There are some cream you purchase from the market that place you in bondage. So some of the things that people go through sometime as a result of the cream they're using or perfume they're using or the likes. That's the secret I want to establish here. There was a man who bought a cloth. It was written on it. It was a T-shirt. It was written on it, vagabond. The moment they put on that shirt, the guy began to manifest. You know what happened later on? The wife said that my husband put on this clothes and started manifesting. So the people held the man uncovered, dressing, that's pulled off the t-shirt. And that was the end of the insanity. You get that? He bought it from the market. There was an occasion I visited a friend, and it was about attachment, artificial hair that was bought from the market. And the sticker of this artificial hair was a kind of interacting with me. So imagine who used that artificial hair. What will be happening to the lady? People pass through a lot as a result of some of the things they acquired for their own good. Let's move to the next point. My next point is the immediate environment. This one is not talking about objects, or like I just talked about, or perfume and all of that, but immediate environment, like the air around them, like nature around them, in which case the prophetic code of nature will be useful here. Again, and the prophetic code of proximity and the prophetic code of the prophetic sea will also be useful here. The prophetic code of prophetic positioning can also be useful here. The prophetic code of evaluation and the prophetic code of imagination. All of these prophetic codes can come into play a critical role here if you want to prophesy by interacting with their immediate environment. When you prophesy as a seer, sometime, like I did say, some signals have to be spurred or stirred or be accessed uh, through other prophetic senses first before you come to the point where you become conscious enough to engage the specific prophetic sense we are meant to be talking about here, talking about seeing, which is that of sight. So, nature, you come around people and living in a particular place, you look around their city, their setting, and everything about them in nature. Sometimes their prophecies are inscripted on trees, rocks around them, the air, the way the wind blows, even stuff like hurricane, tsunami, and earthquake, name them. The likes of natural accounts can serve to feed you with relevant prophecy about people. The thing is, how conscious am I? How activated am I in terms of my prophetic senses? And the next would be, how conversant with the engagement of the specific prophetic codes required to pick such prophetic signals and signatures am I? A particular about these prophetic codes am I? And even when we talk about the codes, we talk about the codes that enable you to be able to engage the codes here. So that's it about how to do this. For instance, let's pick the case of Elijah in 1 Kings chapter 17. The man of God had released the curse, and there was famine in Israel, and he had gone or was out of sight, and nobody took note of that. Had he not said anything, and another prophet of God comes in and realizes that these people have been through drought and it's been for a while now, he's going to be making the attempt to browse into nature. What exactly must have happened that these people were suffering droughts at the material instance? So you see, it is there and then that an active prophet or prophet that is ready and is good with his business will now be allowed to permeate into the prophetic realm. In other words, hack, giving the prophetic skills. Now you hack into the prophetic realm and pick, okay, there was a prophet by the name Elijah who had prophesied or had cast or laid a word down that there will be no rain. So supposing the prophet was not told at all, and nobody knew that Elijah had said such a prayer at all, and that God was acting in response to the words from the mouth of Elijah, a prophet of God in the capacity of Elijah would be able to come into a place and know exactly these people were passing through something as a result of an ill or something wrong they'd done. Let's go back to Judges. And after the demise of Joshua and Othniel, who took over away from him and the generations of Othniel, the next generation that came did not fear God, did not know God. There arose a generation that knew not the Lord, neither did they know the acts of the Lord. So they deviated from the way of the Lord, and God decided to lay them in the hands of reproach. So a prophet of God, or rather, an angel of the Lord appeared to them in a place called Bochim, and he told them exactly why they were in reproach. Can you see? That's how a prophet comes in to tell you why you are in reproach. Now, when God got angry with them and left them in the hands of reproach, the prophet was not there. The angel perhaps was not even there, because not everything God does on earth, he tells the angels, but he tells the prophets. That's the difference. At least a prophet on earth must be aware of God's next move on earth, because God has bound himself by his word not to intrude the earth realm without discussing with men. You see this? We lean on environment here, nature, earth. At times, the immediate air layer around the people, you come close to them, you are kind of disturb their prophetic surrounding or prophetic environment. That's what I discovered prophesying. I come close to you, granted the peace you had originally. I was trying to probably access your prophetic case, engage in the prophetic code of proximity, which has to do with me putting everything in a circumference, and I'm able to prophesy to you as a result of picking virtually everything in the atmosphere around the immediate circumference, say a room in which you are. But now, I'm not able to pick that, so I come close enough to you, like leaving just a few centimeters away from your body, and I disturb the air, immediate air around you. What happens is that your prophecy begin to interact with my skin, and the dendrites that are attached to my skin that's the nerve endings called the dendrites that now feed my brain. When the information is brought to my brain, committed to my mind, taken into subconscious memory, in the mind, where is a seat of the spirit. You get what I'm saying? It is here now that the Spirit of God processes for me what exactly were the informations I picked. So the informations I interacted with was in the physical, but in the spirit realm, when it got to the mind where the spirit is seated and my spirit is seated, there is an interpretation derived from the spirit realm. So I give you a prophecy and it's accurate. And sometimes as the information is passed across there, it is being processed in such a way that I'm able to prophesy, not only picking this information interpreted, but also I'm made to see the chords that details what I'd interacted with around you. So I give you 100% accurate prophecy in the process. Again and again, I keep doing these things. I had intended to give you 5 of these secrets in this video, but for want of time, I want to keep this video short. It's too long already, so I'll stop here with my point number 3. I pray that with this understanding, you'll be positioned to do great acts in the prophetic in this dispensation. God bless you. In case you're new here, subscribe to my channel, like this video, comment, and share to bless others. Once again, God bless you.